Good morning. This is Bill from Auto Europe in Naples. Continuing on, I just did an S-Class, and now I'm doing this PT Cruiser. This is a 2009 model. Frankly, it's a little bit special, not in the fact that it's a PT Cruiser, but in the fact that it has 3,400 miles and is essentially a museum piece. This was owned by not a friend of mine, well, a friend of mine's brother's mother-in-law. There's a convoluted chain of connection. And, you know, she's an elderly woman. She bought it new in 2009. She drove it for maybe 2-3 years. You know, obviously not very far. She ended up going into a nursing home. The car went into storage. The guy who looked after it, is a professional airline pilot who understands machinery. So he would go over once a month, start it up, drive it around, keep it fresh, make sure the oil got changed when it should, and otherwise preserve this rather incredible time machine of a car. Now, let me get into the PT Cruiser for a minute, because frankly, it's an example of a car that I just don't like. I mean, I do appreciate the way that Daimler Chrysler does build some stuff, and that is interesting. They take a design and they bring it from a concept car into production with just a few changes, and they end up wowing the people. But here's what they did with the PT Cruiser, is they essentially made the automotive equivalent of the Macarena. If you remember when that song came out, it became just an instant global success. I mean, you couldn't walk into a store without hearing that stupid song on the radio. You couldn't go anywhere without hearing that song. And the same was true of the PT Cruiser. It became an instant popular success. People loved it. It was a secret minivan, that women could drive and not look like they were in a minivan. It had fantastic cargo room inside. It had, decent road manners, although 150 horse out of this engine. I think my lawnmower has that. Anyway, it did present a certain amount of retro style that people really seemed to like. But of course, like the Macarena, it began to wear thin, and, it became old news. When you saw one in every driveway, they just didn't become that exciting to see anymore. And they became a victim of their own success. So now the PT Cruiser is a little bit of a rolling, yesterday's cheese. That said, it really was a very well-made car and a very versatile car, and you do have to give them a certain amount of credit for building something that looks this weird and retro. This one is finished in surf blue outside. And again, I mean, this is like walking up to the Chrysler lot in 2009 and looking at a new PT Cruiser. I mean, there's just not a hint. And look at the blackness of the windshield surrounds, the mirror. I mean, there's just nothing on this car to distinguish it from a brand new one. At 3,400 miles, it's just incredible. I'm sure those are the original tires, but they're, soft, supple. They've been in climate control since new and still seem fine. So, wow, yeah, they're headlights. I mean, headlights can only look like that when they're new. They really can. So if you're a collector and you think that a PT Cruiser may have some collectability, this may be the car for you to stuff in a garage somewhere and see what happens. Good luck with that. I don't know if that's going to come true or not, but, it is conceivable. Alternatively, if you bought a PT Cruiser and drove the living hell out of it and love it and wish you could buy a new one again, well, basically you can, because this one is here, it exists. It's essentially a new PT Cruiser, that still is running around today. Anyway, let's just get into this thing. By the way, PT stands for personal transportation, which is really dumb. I mean, what the hell else would it be, other than personal transportation? It's a car. That's what cars are. So your personal transportation cruiser. Now, they used a very interesting rear suspension in this car, sort of its own thing to the PT. They could have used the independent stuff out of the Neon, but they didn't. And the reason was to keep the cargo space maximized, which this car does have tremendous cargo space. I think Chrysler said there's like 26 different cargo possibilities in terms of setting up passengers and cargo. I can't count to 26 if I tried with that, and I frankly wouldn't want to take the time. But those seats, of course, do all fold forward, way forward, go down, and you're able to get all kinds of stuff in there if you're a general contractor. In here, I don't know what's in here, a little plastic panel that's impossible to open. Probably the jack stowage, yeah. You get little lights, you get what probably was a 12-volt outlet in a better equipped model. Weird little pocket there to put stuff. I imagine these were all for things that aren't with the car, sort of weird little shelves you could put in it. So I don't know if that's from, again, a better option package or if it's just missing. Anyway, great cargo space back here, all very nice. Hey, look at this. Oh, God. I don't know. This car is just, it's okay. You got a rear wiper. I like that. What a weird, stubby little rounded roof line with the tall doors. You get a ton of headroom in this thing. I mean, you can be Mean Joe Green in stilts and probably drive this car. You get these great little retro door handles with the push buttons, which are kind of cool and kind of weird because I'm just used to being able to pull a door handle open. I'm not used to having to push the button anymore. This isn't 1952, so pushing the button takes a little bit of getting used to. But doors open nice and wide. You can see this has the slate gray cloth inside. Plenty of leg room, plenty of room for your head. Again, you can be enormous and be in this thing. And everything brand new back here. All these little tabs are ways to pull the seats and arrange them around so you get your cargo in. Door panels, they're just plastic, all stamped together. But I don't know. Again, I don't think I've had a PT Cruiser in 10 years, so I just don't know how well they wear. But everything is nice and tight and proper here. You've got weird little vent holes in the door pockets that don't make a lot of sense to me. But there they are, a little chrome pull tab to open the door. Again, when this thing came out, I can see why people loved it. It definitely was very different and unique. Today, let's look under the hood. There, I did it again. I pulled the handle. I didn't push the button. This was supposed to be a Plymouth, by the way, when it was designed and came out. In fact, we did that Plymouth. God, how the hell do you do this? Oh, God, no hood struts, just the prop rod. So there is a 2.4 liter four-cylinder engine putting out about 150 horsepower. Fuel mileage is iffy for a little four. I guess it has a lot of truck to lug around. But luckily for Chrysler, the EPA classified it as a truck, which really made the fuel mileage quite good for a truck. Even though it's quite obviously a car, the EPA did give it truck status. So that made it even qualify for that cash for clunkers thing they had a while back. That was really dumb. Anyway, everything nice and new under the hood, as you would expect from a car with 3,400 miles that's been indoors. So really nothing to see there. And everything just sort of proper. And of course that's running side to side, that engine turning the front wheels. So a weird little hood. I mean, what a weird little hood. Again, neat that they did it. Neat that it's so unlike most cars. But oh God, I don't know how I feel about it. The roof, it's just weird. Okay, here you can see how it's sort of supposed to be a Plymouth. If you remember, the Prowler we were in yesterday had this body-colored insert in the instrument cluster, and so does this PT Cruiser. This one is surf blue, which is quite a nice color for the car, and everything's sort of laid out proper. That door panel, again, with the weird little holes down there, I don't get those at all. Cheese grater things, little speaker, again with the door handle, the lock. Look at this prong for the manually adjust. I mean, this thing would poke you in the eye. It comes out so far. Interesting to see a manual mirror, too. I haven't seen that in a long time. Over there, it's ridiculous. It sticks out like 4 inches. All right, gives you a big unfriendly beep when you fire it up. And let's see what you got. So you have a, very traditional steering wheel designed to look, I think, a little bit vintage with this tiny little airbag module in the middle, the little thin spokes. You've got, a compass and your temperature display, your fuel, your water temp, your speedometer in the middle, your tach over there on the right. And again, yeah, look at that, 3464. So just ridiculously low mileage in this car. It has a tilt steering column. You get these nice little adjustable vents. They're kind of Mustang style. I like the way you can steer them around, aim them at you. That's one of the things I do like about this car. They're cheap. They don't feel like super high quality, but they don't feel fragile, and they're very nice to aim. What else you got? You got your, intermittent wiper stuff. It's all power steering, thank God. You've got headlights here. I don't think they're automatic. I think you have to use them manually, which is fine. I've always liked that. You've got a great little hump here in the middle with your power windows in a very strange location, high up on the dashboard. You've got an analog clock, which, I guess you better in a car that's all vintage like this. You got some kind of in-dash AM/FM compact disc. Let's see what we got. I doubt it is. AM/FM, whatever, single CD, auxiliary input. It's fine. It's going to give you what you need. Manual climate control down here. All working like new, of course. A neat little pocket that you can barely reach under here. Be a nice place for a little compact 9, but if you put it in there, it'll probably slide out. I imagine this cover for the 12 volt is missing on virtually every PT Cruiser that gets used. You got a coin slot here. You got some cup holders up front and another one in the back if you want to drink two-fisted. Also a place that's going to get really dirty as stuff drops into it. I do like the little vintage shift knob with the ball on top, kind of fascinating. You can apply brake. Okay, we'll do that. Over here again with the Miami blue, the surf blue insert, little glove box. There's your set of books. Nice. Here's a window sticker. We got 2 keys, window sticker, of course. What was this thing? 19 grand new, so yeah, pretty affordable. 15-inch bolt-on wheel covers, and that wasn't on the S we drove earlier. I do like the weird little design on the seats. It reminds me of that stuff the brocade you'd get in the old Cadillacs. Something you really you just don't see anymore, and I do quite like that. It looks like iPhones of different shapes and sizes all interlocking. And anyway, there it is. The seat belt's immaculate, the steering wheel immaculate, the dash immaculate. This is a new PT Cruiser. I mean, it's new. So, I mean, again, if you want a new PT Cruiser, here it is. Turning radius is not fantastic being a front drive car. It's not bad, but it's not fantastic. Had to back up on this one, although it's a little more forward than in the S. And away we go. So the 4-cylinder doesn't exactly give you the most pleasing sound. Never been a big fan of 4s anyway. And it really comes through, so it's not hugely insulated. You do get some engine sound in it. The steering is nice. I feel a nice on-center feel to it. Reacts without any play. Well, there better not be play. I mean, the car's new. How's there going to be play in it? Tranny shifts pretty quick. I don't know, there's a 4-speed? Probably a 4-speed. Yeah, 4-speed overdrive. Yeah, okay, I've got great visibility, I'll say that. Looking around, I can see everything very, very clearly. I've got more headroom than I could possibly use. I could have a 10-gallon hat on and still have room over the top of it. I've got a nice sort of high seating position, but not too high. In fact, certainly not even minivan high, but high enough. Listen to that buzzy thing. It's all sound and fury. Okay, so it's not fast, obviously. That felt like about a 10-second 0 to 60 time, not altogether impressive. But I suppose that really isn't the point of this car. It's supposed to be sort of a personal transportation cruiser that looks kind of stylistic, has plenty. By the way, you see all that flashing? It's not. Let me get close. Yeah, it's just something to do with the frame rate of this thing. Anyway, a personal transportation cruiser that's supposed to look kind of stylistic and, you know, make you sort of feel like an individual while giving you plenty of cargo space inside. What should be better fuel mileage, but I guess isn't terrible, and an ability to drive around town, do your errands, pick up stuff in relative safety and comfort, and get back to your house with minimal fuss. While certainly not listening to the Macarena on the radio, because that would drive you insane. And it does all that. So again, here it is. This is a 2009 Chrysler PT Cruiser, 3,464 one-owner miles, and not an abandoned car, not something that, you know, sat for 10 years and let the seals dry out. This thing was looked after by a guy who knew how to look after cars, keeping it fresh, and finally they're just, you know, decided nobody's going to be driving it again, so they may as well sell it. So if you have an interest, give us a call, 239-298-8000. I'm going to freely admit this will probably be the most expensive PT Cruiser in the country, but I would also like to point out that it's probably the newest PT Cruiser in the country, so it does have that going for it. 239-298-8000 on the web at aenaples.com. Thank you so much for having a look. We appreciate it, and we'll see you with the next one. Take care.